Listen, we got Matt Painter here, fresh off of Purdue's 83-71 win over Xavier. We were talking about it while we were watching the game, Matt, and we said that it felt like you guys never really kicked into high gear tonight, and you were still just kind of able to keep a good, well-coached Xavier team at arm's length. What does tonight's performance say about what you have this season?
Yeah. Obviously, we couldn't separate, but obviously there's another team out there, competing against you. I know, like when Claude hit that tough three, it banks in. When they're getting those floaters, we want those floaters. Like we want the tough twos. Like we want to play without fouling. We want to keep them out of the paint. And for the most part, we did. They do a great job of sealing there at the block, and that's why you saw us get more aggressive and trap and just get the ball out of the guard's hands. And their four-man, made a couple of those baseline shots. I thought he had 20, and he has 10. So sometimes when it goes against what you want, but we took a couple ill-advised threes, I thought, in the first half where we could have separated, like whatever, like Lance Jones shot a couple from Crawfordsville, and he comes from Southern Illinois where I used to be, so I talked to every single person there. They're like, yeah, he said he's really good and he's tough and he can guard and he can make shots and he can use his quickness and he's really a combo. He goes, but every now and then he'll shoot a 35-footer and you'll be like, what in the hell is going on? Like, I coach Carson Edwards, so I've seen some 35-footers, but just reeled in just a little bit. I told him the last game, because he did it the last game too, I said, if it counted for 4, I'd be all for it. But it doesn't. It's the same. Just play on the arc, man. So what's hardest for those guys, I know I'm getting away from your question, they don't know how to post feed. So Braden Smith's one of the best passers I've ever been around. He didn't know how to post feed. It took him 5 games. I said, hey, man, did you get the ball in high school? He's like, yeah. I go, well, were you the best player? He goes, yeah. I go, well, you're not right now. and Zebo is. So when he's open, he's got to get it. Just no different than you. You're a good player. When you're open, you got to get it. And so, kind of getting him to understand some of that, like playoffing. Let him do the work. You don't have to mess around. Play ball screen. We play a lot through ball screens, which we don't get credit for because Braden's so good in it and people are getting that drop. And so we want to attack that. Well, we play in the drop too with Zach. And so, we go against it a lot. So just trying to get those guys to understand whatever they give you, take it. And if they're going to give you your pull-up, take your pull-up. If they're going to let Zach catch it and play one-on-one, do it. So Lance has kind of had to learn a different system, different vernacular, but he's great. He's exactly what the doctor ordered. What we struggled with, we needed quickness, we needed defense, we needed leadership. We needed all those things, and he brings those things, and he's not scared. A lot of people act like, they have that bravado. Most men are that way. This is the way I am. They're going to tell the world that. But when it gets down to it, you got to be able to show it, and he shows it. He doesn't back down from people.
Did you ask them that? Because you kind of said that in the offseason, you needed to get some guys who weren't scared, right? Because you felt like last year in the tournament, you played scared.
Yeah. Well, I think what happens is you get tight when you get 3 to 4 shots a game. When you're a guy that's going to get 12 to 15 shots, you play through it. And it's what most people do in high school. They play through it because you get your shots and you don't worry about it. But when you get a couple a game, 3, 4, 5 shots a game, you're like, oh, man, I got to make it. And then you just get tight. We collectively lost confidence. Even though we won our last 5 games of the season, people weren't taking on Zach's dives and then going out and challenging us. They were taking on his dives and staying there because we would move it and then throw it in. And they just would you're going to have it. You're just going to take this. And then when they left that kind of got them doubting themselves. And you can't do that. When you got your open ones, you got to step in rhythm and you got to shoot them.
I think that's the hardest thing to combat, right? Is someone is saying, I dare you to shoot. That's the shot we want. How do you coach that up? Is it just get reps in the gym? How do you develop? It's like a mental thing.
It gets psychological, right? It gets there's the best shooters in the world go through it. So why shouldn't the average shooters? They really go through it, right? The average shooters don't get the same rep. It's different. Great players, you keep going back to the well. If Carson Edwards is 4 for 17, I made an attempt to go to him and hey man, you're good. Just keep taking good ones. You took 13 good shots, you took 4 bad ones. We need as many of those 13. We needed that to grow. And so, just staying with them and putting in time. Our guys put a lot of time in on their game. And that's something for us. We haven't done a better job recruiting. We've done a better job evaluating. And I think and not being scared to take people that aren't getting recruited by people at our level because we see the value and how they can help us in our system. That's where we've really gotten to where we've made improvements. Our staff has done a really good job with that.
about your freshman, Myles Colvin, tonight? 3 for 3 from three. I heard he's a heck of a shooter, but I thought he came in and gave you some really good minutes. How much are you leaning on him throughout the year?
I thought he was great. What's kind of kept him away is there's been really no separation. Cam Heide and him and Ethan Morton, I think they would all kind of take off if they could get more minutes, but it's just not there. So can I keep playing 10 people is really hard. But for a guy like that to come in, played USA basketball, made the 19 and under team, just turned 18 in August, very talented, but learning the system and thrown at him. But to be able to step up like that and make shots, like you keep doing something like that, and as a coach, you got to get it figured out and get him out on the court more.
You mentioned Braden Smith earlier. He had 12.6 boards tonight. I think a lot of people put the end of the season on him, right? Mm-hmm. He's not good enough. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. And he looked like a more competent player.
Yeah.
You know, he got into that kind of mid-range pull-up when they were playing the drop up the ball screens like 3 or 4 times and just stepped up confidence, knocked him down. What have you seen from him this offseason?
You know, I've always wanted him to shoot more. Like last year, he loves like just setting people up. But like his instincts aren't going to take over if everybody just thinks he's a pass-only player. So like being able to get layups, being able to get into his intermediate game, but more importantly, get into that pull-up, getting some pull-up threes to get, you know, to mid-range right there. Because when people aren't dropped, they're daring you. Mm-hmm. And if we can set a good screen, and obviously Zach is great in that situation because they don't like to get disconnected from him. So it's a drop, but a drop with Zach is a real drop. So they're not holding back in that deep drop and just sitting there. They're starting up and then dropping, which is a little bit different. That's how we play it. But no, he just needs to be confident. I called his dad in the spring and just said, like, you got to understand, he's got to score for us. Like, we got to get him scoring because I want the opponents to take that away. Because when you take that away, that's when his passing really takes off.
I knew I could play for this, man. See what I mean? I thought he was just feeding the big man. Now he's giving the guard.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is my second year in coaching, I was in North Carolina at a Division II school, Barton College, Wilson, North Carolina. Yeah. And that was your senior year.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the Big Ten tournament. So, like, to me, like, it was no big deal. ACC tournament, right? I don't know anything. I'm from the state of Indiana. I'm like, what's the big deal? I worked with someone. I worked 2 different jobs. I worked at a technical college helping people get their GED. Lady I worked for was Duke. And then another lady I worked with was North Carolina. So it was just on, right? Every single day, I'm like, gee, Christmas. And they were just on. And that was when Randolph had the unbelievable AC tournament when the guy fell down or whatever. So I kind of I was Wake Forest. And I was just like, hey, man. They just said, like, you're just jumping on the winner. Like, well, sure. Sure. So, like, to me, that was cool because then when I was fortunate enough to become a head coach in the Big Ten, Tommy Amaker was at Michigan. And then he talked about anchoring the tournament. Tommy was really big on that. He said, anchor the tournament and let it grow because we're never going to get it like the ACC and all that history, you know, and the nostalgia and everything that comes with the ACC tournament. We got to get it. And we move it around. Like, we don't have a conference anymore. We got a corporation. So, like, we're going to be all over the place, you know, for our tournament. And rightfully so. Like, it is what it is, and it's the way it's moving. But that was a real cool thing for me to see him and to see that and just, like, to experience that. Just as a fan, I just was, you know, just watching. But, like, that was really cool to kind of see that, how that tournament, you know, unfolded through the years and all the great players that played there. But the fans, how they looked at it. Like, I don't know if we quite look at it that way, but, you know, it's got to be an event, right? Because you're springboarding in, obviously, to the NCAA tournament.
All right, give me your favorite Zach Edey story. Give me something good.
Oh, man.
Funny, crazy, something that's happened in the offseason?
He's pretty simple, really. Yeah. I've never seen someone eat like that. I've never seen, and it's the constant, like, fuel. Like, it just doesn't stop.
You can eat.
Yeah. Not like that. Like, but at halftime, he's got something. Before the game, he's got something. Post game, halftime.
Like, what's he
just the bars and all that stuff, which, you know, there's a lot of people out there that do that, but I've never, like, so we go to the Big Ten tournament, the media day in Minneapolis. So we were staying at the Marriott downtown. This is 2 years ago. And I was like, hey, man, you've ever been to Fogo de Chao, the steakhouse right there? He was like, no. So he knew nothing about the card, the green, just keep bringing it, or the red. I just said, hey, if you like something a little bit different, like, you know, you like the prime rib or, you know, you like the filet and you don't want the teriyaki chicken, so just flip your card when it comes around. whatever. I said, so you just get whatever you want. He's like, no, I'm good. I like it all. And so it was just me and him sitting there. AD from Illinois walks in. He kind of comes around. He goes, oh, you guys are going to put this place to the knees. You're going to take this to the And so the next year, we were recruiting. I went down to Atlanta. Then I went to the East Coast. And then we flew in. And Brandon Brantley, one of our assistants, was with me. We couldn't take him back, so we had to go to media day. So then we land and we go there, and Zach's there. And he's like, well, they've already went to eat. I said, well, I know where they are. So we walk in, and Zebo's right over there in the corner, just had that card on green, man. He's a talent.
He never turns it over.
I know he did not.
Just keep coming.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, there's like a historic story.
Yeah, he's
on
first
Taylor visit.
Oh, what's there?
Oh, like historic. They've never. Scott Drew, Jerome Tang was there at the time.
Yeah.
They said they've never seen a human being eat as much as Zach Edey on that visit.
I saw Isaac Hotz. We played in Maui, and we were in good spirits, so we had to win that game. I don't know if we won or we beat, but he had missed free throws, so I was waiting on him. I said, let me just take you to this gym. Let's go shoot some free throws. He was like 0 for 6 or whatever, and he ate 40 chicken strips. So he gets up and he walks away, and one of our walk-ons started whispering, like, hey, he just ate 40 chicken strips. I said, hey, man, why are you whispering? I said, I just don't want to be rude. I don't want to say anything. I go, can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah. He goes, how do you know he ate 40 chicken strips? He goes, I counted. He said he got 8 at a time. He went out 5 times. He returned 4 times. Obviously, the initial one. There it is, Purdue math.
Coach, this is my first time in Mackey Arena, and I got to say, this is, yeah, it's my first time.
Wow.
As good as any environment I've ever been around. Does anywhere you've played in your career compare to this?
See, I wouldn't give it the credit because the noise doesn't affect me. You know, it's that positive noise. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not on the other end. I'm not on the other end. But like when we go to Michigan State or we go to Indiana, you just hear it differently because it's against you. But I know it's it used to be big games here, like our ball screen coverage. I'd be like, hey, man, are you going to talk out there? And the guy'd be like, I'm talking. I said, okay. So now it's become, they've done such a good job here with the game day environment. And the fans have been great and our students have been great. They've done something. Now it's getting to where it's almost every game to where it's like, hey, man, like your ball screen coverage. Because he'll tell you, like, a lot of attacking ball screens is just getting people lower and changing feet and getting angles. That's all it is. Like, but you got to have the ability, the quickness in the game to get somebody to do that and then manipulate it, you know, and that's just your ball screen attack. So with that, like, you don't want to, you know, defensively do those things, but you got to communicate and help each other because different things can happen with slips, screens, twists, rescreens. There's a lot of things that go with it. So you got to be great in communication. But if you can't hear somebody, it's pretty tough.
Well, listen, Paint, it's been a pleasure. It's always great to catch up with you. It's always great to be here in Mackey Arena. When we